Hey y'all, Farmer Dre back at it. It's a little different setting than usual, but I'm out here in the basement again because we've been a busy day out here on the farm. But I forgot to grab my camera this morning to film some stuff, so I'm out here since I made a dedication to film a video every day until I hit 10K. So here I am in our basement filming a video for you guys. So today I want to talk about the 3 most profitable crops that we grow here on our farm. So the majority of our fruit that we grow here on the farm are, so if you guys are wondering why I'm talking a little softer here, is because everybody else is asleep and I'm trying not to wake them up with my really loud voice here. But most of the crops we do grow here on our farm, you know, that's why we specialize in growing just a handful of crops to begin with, just because these are the most valuable crops, the most high value crops that we could potentially grow. So today I'm going to talk about tomatoes, of course, because that's one big thing on our farm. Then strawberries, and then be either between blackberries or apples. But as I make this video, I'm going to think more about that and continue on with that. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and break down all the crops we grow here on the farm on a per acre basis. So like with tomatoes, I'll multiply that up to a per acre basis. On the strawberries, we'll do by the per acre basis. And you know, I'm just going to do the apples and the blackberries on a per acre basis, and talk about the varieties and stuff as well. So yeah, so if you guys are wondering, this is all on a per acre basis, and I'm not going to get into real deep detail of how much, you know, we actually produce and stuff. It's going to be more of a general rule on how hypothetically you should make off of acre, and you know, potentially make off of acre of the thing you grow. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So as you guys heard me say in my other videos, I am thinking pretty heavily about starting just a agribusiness podcast talking about numbers and stuff in a podcast space, because you know, I could record stuff like this at midnight and you know, it wouldn't have to be in video form, but I'll probably still upload it to YouTube. I'm still contemplating, still going back and forth if I should really do that. But today we're all about the numbers. So I got my fancy calculator here and just start rambling numbers off in my head here. So you know, just keep, like I usually do, just up in the air, and we'll keep you guys informed. So first of all, tomatoes, as you guys know, we grow them in our high tunnel. So one high tunnel is a 1/15 of an acre, and how I calculated that, you know, there's 43,560 square feet in 1 acre. There's 2,880 square foot in high tunnel, 30 by 96. So if we do the math there, so 43,560 square feet, divide that by 208.80, that's 15.1. So I'm just going to round down to 15 of an acre, 1/15 of an acre in of a high tunnel. So this past season we picked, you know, an average of 12,000 pounds of tomatoes out of the high tunnel times $3 a pound. That's $36,000 out of one high tunnel times 15, because it's 1/15 of an acre. So just off of high tunnel tomatoes alone, you know, you could potentially gross income $540,000. So that's right over $500,000. So let me recalculate that. So 36,000 times 15, yeah, $540,000, right over $500,000. That's off 1 acre of tomatoes. So that's just saying that, you know, if you have 15 high tunnels, you could potentially make that much. But the infrastructure, of course, costs a lot too. So the high tunnel, you're spending anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 per high tunnel. So if you do that 15,000 times 15, so there goes your, you know, 225,000 just in the infrastructure alone, not counting time and labor to install and all that good stuff. So, you know, let's just say that, you know, $225,000 is the infrastructure. If you're getting started from a first year's perspective, you know, you're still in the green, you're still profiting money if you are growing an acre of just high tunnel tomatoes. So, you know, that's hands down one of the most profitable crops on a per acre basis, because, you know, everybody loves farm fresh tomatoes. So that's why my goal on our farm here is to have at least 15 high tunnels, because I want an acre of high tunnels, and you know, potentially have them all tomatoes. And you know, if the market's too saturated in one area on tomatoes, then we could just diversify. And that's the beauty of having the high tunnels, is that you could potentially grow all kinds of different crops in them, and you know, the property or the value of that land in the high tunnel is still super valuable. But like I mentioned in my other videos, tomatoes is like the king crop. Let's talk about strawberries. So the way we grow our strawberries out in the field, you're planting about 17,000 plants per acre. That's on a pretty typical, pretty traditional. That's 5 foot between each row and 12 a foot between each plant times double row. 15,000. This year, I believe we did about 15,000 plants per acre, so a little wider than usual. But whenever you talk plastic culture strawberries, you're usually talking, 17,000 plants per acre. So, like I said, these are all hypothetical numbers. And last year, other stuff got involved in our strawberries. So, we're, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is all hypothetical numbers, how much you potentially make. Some farmers do it, some farmers don't. It just depends on the year and how it progresses. So let's go ahead and take that 17,000 plants. And let's say that, every strawberry plant produces a pound. And, you got 17,000 pounds of strawberries off that 1 acre. And now, depending on what your price is at the farmer's market, like on tomatoes, I multiply that by $3 a pound because that's usually an average. But if you're doing a U-pick, in our area it's anywhere from $2 to $3. But if you're selling at farmer's market, then that number really skyrockets. So I'm going to go ahead and take the same average on price of strawberries as I did last year of $4 a pound already pre-picked. So $17,000 times $4 a pound, that is $68,000 per acre gross on an acre of strawberries. And that $4 a pound is a very moderate number. I mean, it's very, very conservative because, if you're selling at $5 a pint, that's $8 a pound. So if you take $17,000 pounds times $8 a pound, that's $136,000 per acre. So price has a really big impact on, how much you're going to potentially make off that 1 acre land, just because, that's the head drive. So, if you're doing, if you're selling your strawberries, you pick at $2 a pound, you're only making, $34,000 off that 1 acre. So like I mentioned, you got to have a really good product, first of all, as a good farmer, and then you got to have the right price for your product to be able to get that. So, $136,000 if you sell them at, $68,000, if that's being very moderate on an acre of strawberries per year. And, you got to crunch that. That's just in 4 to 5 weeks out of the year. So I just realized that, strawberries isn't the second most profitable. I'm going to talk about all the crops, together. And then at the end, I'm going to tell them which one's more profitable and which one isn't. Because, strawberries, they make you a lot of money. But let's talk about the other crops and see how much they make. And then we'll make a list of what's the most profitable on a per acre basis and what is not profitable on a per acre basis. Alrighty, so I want to talk to you guys about blackberries and the way we grow our blackberries on the RCA trellis system. So blackberries in general are a pretty profitable crop because the return on investment of the system. And one thing I'm not going to hit on is, the amount of time it takes from a plant to start harvesting, because that is a time period like in different fruits. But this is just, let's say a fully mature block of blackberries, fully mature acre of blackberries. So let's go ahead and head into the blackberries. So there was a trial done here in our area of the RCA blackberry trellis system. And in their third year at the research station, they hit 5 pounds a linear foot in the third season of blackberries. So, typically you're doing anywhere from 4 to 5,000 linear foot on a per acre basis of blackberries. So let's go ahead and do 5,000 linear feet of blackberries times that 5 pounds per linear feet. That's 25,000 pounds of blackberries on a per acre basis. And then, like I said, price determines everything. So in our area, you pick berries, you pick blackberries anywhere from like $4.50 to $5 a pound. So if we're being very conservative and say, $4.50 a pound, 25,000 pounds times 4.5, that's $112,000 just off of U-pick blackberries on a 1 acre berries. But like I mentioned earlier, if you're doing farmers markets, and again you're selling that pint for $5, that's close to $8 a pound. So $25,000 times $8 a pound, that's $200,000 on a per acre basis if you're selling everything at the farmers market. And like I mentioned, that's in a really good year where everything goes perfect. So, if we're being very conservative with our numbers here and saying that blackberries produce around $100,000 per acre per year on the rotating cross-arm trellis system on the blackberries. So $112,000 on the Blackberries per acre. And I guess now that we're, I guess we'll talk about 4 different crops here. So I'll talk about apples, and of course, the traditional system on apples is the moderate orchard. Trees are planted 20 feet apart, 20 feet between each row, and those orchards aren't really profitable because the numbers of yields isn't there. But I'm going to talk about the high density apple system. So on the high density apple system, at full production in the 5th year, you could expect anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 pounds, bushels, not pounds, bushels of apples. Now, I said pounds because we've been talking everything else about pounds. So anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 bushels per acre. So like I said, I'm being very conservative, very moderate with these numbers. So let's say in the 5th year of high density apples, you produce 1,000 bushels per acre. So 1,000 bushels per acre times a bushel of apples weighs 40 pounds. So you do that times 40 pounds, that's 40,000 pounds of apples per acre. And like I mentioned earlier, depending on the price, so this next spring, we're actually planting 3 new varieties, Evercrisp, Ludacrisp, and Crimson Crisp. And on those Evercrisp, they're a very high value variety, so you're getting anywhere from $2.50 to $3 a pound. So let's say that $40,000 times 2.5, $250 a pound, that's on the low end of the varieties. So another $100,000 per acre per year, and that is at a U-pick price of $2 a pound. But if you're selling it by the bushel, be a little cheaper. If you sell them by the bag and stuff, or by a smaller quantity, be a little more. So blackberries and apples are head and head, neck and neck. If you're being very conservative with the numbers. But that's why it was kind of hard to decide between the two, just because their numbers are very close together on a per acre basis. So they're both around $100,000 per acre per year. So those are the 4 different crops that I'm going to talk about today. And other than the 4 different crops, the other crops we do grow is blueberries, peaches, and different types of produce and stuff like as that as well. And then next year, I'm going to dabble a little into watermelon and cantaloupe, and talk about those later on in a few different videos. But those are the first crops that come to mind. Talk about numbers and production. Those are the things. So first of all, like I said, tomatoes are the king crop. Potentially grown on a per acre basis in high tunnels, if you could have that infrastructure of over $500,000, so $540,000 on just high tunnel tomatoes alone on a per acre basis. So that seems mind-boggling, but like I said, you really have to have a really good market for it and sell your product at a really good price to be able to get those numbers. So those are those are the numbers that we're selling our tomatoes currently at. And we only have 3 tunnels here on the farm. We're gonna have 3 tunnels here in the next couple of weeks, where we gotta install our 3rd high tunnel. But then second comes neck and neck, like I mentioned, apples and peaches, close to around $100,000 per acre per year. And then in number 3 is strawberries. So that's on a per acre basis. And of course, if you grow more acres of one product, like we have 2.5 acres of strawberries, then those numbers really rack up real quick. And like I said, that's just being very considerate of the weather, and if everything turns out really well, and if you have a really good year, really good growing year. And there's multiple factors that come into that, but that's how much you could potentially make off that those acreage of production. So just a quick little video today, just talking about profitability of different crops. And I know this is what makes a farmer plant something. I know whenever we look into planting a new crop like that, we definitely look at the numbers and the production to see if it's even feasible, if it's even worth our while to do something like that. So I hope this helps, and I hope it guides you guys to finally see what you can do and what you can't do. That's gonna be pretty much it for today. Like I mentioned, I made this dedication to come to you guys every single day until I hit 10K. So it's not my usual outside on the farm kind of look, but the information's still great, and I'm trying to share as much knowledge and everything that goes on inside my brain here to you guys. So this is me pretty much it for today. If you guys haven't already, go and hit that subscribe button, go and smash that like button if you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, like I mentioned, come to you guys every single day until I hit 10K. I want to thank everybody for watching up to this point. You guys have a good day, and we'll see you in the next one.